Okay, this is going to be a paper written by Richard Allen Miller in 2001, and obviously non-commercial use. I don't want your money. And um, before I even start, I just want to say a couple of things. Um, I was reading through this before. I didn't read through the whole thing, and it struck a chord with me because I had remembered when the devils would come into my room and whatnot. Um, I remember like the sounds and like the sight of it, and it was the the presence of like a buzzing sound or like a buzzing noise, like in your ears or like inside of your you know inside of your head or something like that. And it had reminded me of that, and it actually triggered a feeling inside of me of extreme rage, and I actually had to stop reading this paper, you know, this document. And but now I got myself back together, and now I started to read it again. So I'm basically just gonna read this and talk about it, and give my opinions about it and what I think about it, and read it, and that's basically it. Simple. That's it. And okay, so the paper is called Synthetic Telepathy and the Early Mind Wars. And basically it talks about how it talks about certain things that the demon possessed secret government, has their hands on, certain technologies that they have their hands on. And I don't know if the devils gave them this technology or directly, or if the devils gave them the blueprint to build it and they use the materials themselves to build it. All I know is that the demon possessed secret government is in possession of it, and that, the demon possessed secret government works directly with the devils. It's not like and it's not even works with, it's like, I should say the demon possessed secret government is subservient to and takes direct orders from the devils. They don't work with the devils because that's you know, that phrase has an element of equality, of partnership. There's no partnership. It's subservience to the devils. That's what it is. It's subservient. It's not where they're like partners, and it's not like where they have a say and they go to the devils and say, "Oh, devil, I think that we should do this to kill all these people." No, it's they're completely controlled. They're demon possessed. It's the devils directly controlling them, telling them what to do directly. Them having no say. Them meaning the people involved, human beings involved, have no say in the matter, and it's just they just do what they're told. So if the devil says to them, go and shoot this person with this psychotronic mind control device in order to make them, um, hallucinate things that aren't there, and do this for 1 month, they will do it. It's not like where it's like, oh, I don't know if I should. Maybe there's a better way of ruining their life. Maybe we should do it this way. No, it's they're gonna do it. Okay, they're gonna do it. Why are they gonna do it? Because they're demon possessed. They don't have any more say in the matter. It's like they're controlled. It's their control. They don't. It's like they're blank. They're not home anymore. They're not there. They're not running their body. They're not in charge of their physical body. They're not in charge of their physical self. For whatever reason, somehow the devil was able to get in there and start controlling these people, literally controlling them, their actions, everything, to the point where it's not even that person anymore. It's just that spirit, that evil spirit in their body doing this, and it's very bad, and I don't understand why God allows it to be that way. All I know is that he does allow it to be that way, and that he's not always going to allow it to be that way forever. It has a point, an end point, where it's not going to be like that forever, but currently in the present time right now, it's like that, and it's terrible and it's horrible, and the only protection that is possible is Jesus. And I don't care about your dumb legalism of naming conventional schemes and all of that, because that's also demonic too. That legalistic spirit, you have to use this name, this name, that's devils telling you that. But the only the one true God can help you with this. Only the one true God can lead you through the mind, the mind field, okay? Like minefield, the mind field, mind field of the demonic. Only he can plot out a path where hopefully you won't get too hurt. I'm not going to say he's going to stop every single bad type of thing from happening to you, because in my experience, I don't think he's ever done that for any person that has ever lived. But I'm pretty sure he stops the worst of it, and he helps you through the rest. And so I know that's not very comforting, but that's all you got. It's either that's that's the only God that exists. That's the only God that there is. And so you have to take what you can get, and that's the only thing you can get, which is Jesus and God and the Holy Spirit and the Father and them helping you, God helping you. So that's prefacing the whole thing. Okay. And so then here's his website. Okay, I just had to pause it real quick. I'm back now. And okay, so here's the website. I did not go to the websites, so I have no idea if they're still in operation or not. And another thing I want to say before I start reading is, you know, the question, okay, why are you so focused on this? Why aren't you focused on something else? And it's like, okay, I'll answer that question very simply. The reason I'm focused on this is because I don't ever hear any preachers um, preaching on this, okay? I never hear any preachers preaching on this, because their whole thing is predicated on the lie that there is no there's nothing going on in in the governmental area that is linked to the demonic realm. Like their whole thing is predicated on that. And it's not true, and it's completely not true. Um and because their whole view of the scripture is predicated on the government can do no wrong, or the government isn't as bad as the scriptures actually say that it is. And you can read it, it says a lot of bad things in there that they'll never, the preachers in general. Well, first of all, I don't believe in the Christian religion. Okay, I don't believe in the Christian religion. I think it's fake. But the preachers that are saying that they're part of the Christian religion, they don't focus on anything that has to do with linking people in power, government things with the demonic. And it's like they're blocked. It's like God is allowing a devil to be there, blocking them from being able to put two and two together and have it equal four, basically. And it's because the preachers and the preacher men and the preacher women and all of those people, whatever they want to call themselves, the pastors and the reverends and the priests, Catholic, Protestant, it's the same to me. It's both the same. They're both failures, in my opinion. Both of them have failed as religions, as religious institutions. Catholicism and Protestantism have both completely failed. They don't talk about the things that God is allowing the devils to do to people, you know? And because they don't talk about it, they can't help anybody when it comes to it. So, for example, you have a person that has been being attacked demonically, and also technologically by demon possessed people, and also directly demonically by actual devils. And you have this person go to a random Baptist church or a random Methodist church or a random Episcopalian church or a random whatever denomination church or a random Catholic church, and they start talking about it to the people in power at the church. And what do the people in power at the church do? They let them down. They fail them. They fail that child of God right there. They fail that child of God right there. They can't even deal with him. They can't even deal with it. So to me, that's all failure. If I see a church building, I automatically think failure to God. Automatically think that. So that's basically the main reason I focus so much on this, is because the quote unquote leadership, self proclaimed, by the way, leadership of the church, self proclaimed men of God, self proclaimed women of God, self proclaimed prophets of God, self proclaimed prophetesses of God, all these self proclaimed people running around in the name of God and in the name of Jesus and in the name of Christ and in the name of Yahweh and in the name of Yeshua and in the name of God, running around saying they can help. And when there's a real demonic problem going on, there's a real demonic issue going on, there's real demon possessed people trying to go after them, they can't help them. They say, what do they say? Oh, paranoid, crazy, blah, 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 blah. How do you think God feels about that? When you have a quote unquote self proclaimed leader in the quote unquote self proclaimed Christendom, Christian church, religion, using the name of Jesus, right? Saying that to one of God's children. How do you think God would feel about that? And so I would never, ever, ever, ever in my whole life, for any reason, ever call myself any type of man of God or self proclaimed leader or anything like that, because when you take on that responsibility, it's not like a joke. It's not like some kind of game. Okay, this is like life and death, being killed, tortured, whatnot. This is not like some kind of fairy tale make believe, namby pamby Disney World. This is real life, blood on the street, blood in people's homes, being killed, dying, death, demonic attacks, battles, war, literal war, literal war. This is literal war, and to be doing things like that is just so sickens me. And I will never call myself a quote unquote Christian, because in order to call myself that, I have to believe in the Christian religion, and I will never believe in the Christian religion ever again. Ever. I will never believe in any religion. I will never believe in any religion ever. Because what's the main reason I won't believe in any religion? Because they won't help with this. The it doesn't help with the no religion helps with the demonic attacks that people are going through. No religion deals with the demon possessed people that are attacking other people. It doesn't help nothing when it comes to real war and real standing up against evil and real standing up against devils and real standing up against people that are being controlled by devils. It doesn't help one bit. No religion does. And so that's why I will never be part of any religion, and I will never call myself a Christian person. I don't have any label. Labels are labels are, to me, immature, childish conventions in order to simplify the world and in order to simplify reality, so that people can put things in nice little boxes so that their minds can handle it and so that their minds can deal with it. And I refuse to do that. I can't. I wouldn't be true to myself if I was doing that. So that's the preface to this. Okay, intro. I first became aware of Alan Frey's work at Willow Grove in 1972, just after completing the holographic concept of reality. I was working with Dr. Carl Seicher, MRU at the time, and was asked about the significance of this work. Realizing its possible use in mind control, my first reaction was to go on red alert. Okay, so this is just like backstory of in the past, back in the 70s, what this guy was doing. He was doing this research into this mind control um, research. Full significance was not yet understood at this time. Basically, Frey had discovered another sensory motor input in the higher blue band frequencies of zero point 0.3 to 3 gigahertz. At very low amplitudes of power, it was as if, quote unquote, we had another type of vision, but did not know how to see what was being received. It constituted the next generation of subliminal communications. Okay, so another thing that I've never heard any preacher say, and I will probably never hear any preacher say, is that the demonic realm and the evil spirits and the devils, they can hop on these frequencies. Okay, they can travel along them, and they can be located inside of the frequency somehow. And when there is a device or a gun or whatever that blasts these frequencies out to people, okay, devils can enter inside of people by hitching a ride on these frequencies. Okay, and this guy is only going to look at it from the material physical standpoint, but I am always going to also include the immaterial non-physical standpoint and how it interacts with each other. And that's one way that devils will mess with a person, literally by being in the frequency. It's not where it's just a frequency by itself and it affects you, like they will all say. It's just these frequencies by itself and it affects you. Why isn't it like that? Because here's the reason why it's not like that. Because not every just because a person is exposed to this frequency, okay? Just because a person is exposed to these blue band frequencies and whatnot, it doesn't mean they're affected by the same way. You have 100 people, okay? 90 people are affected and become and have things subliminally inserted into their consciousness, and they start to become controlled. 10 people have it doesn't have any effect. Why? Why is that? Well, the reason is I would say the reason is because those 10 people are protected by God, and that devil that was in that frequency had no entryway into that person's mind. It had no entryway into that person's body. So even though they're being hit by the frequency, it has no effect on that person because that person is being protected by God. The other 90 people, for whatever reason, God's not protecting them, and it's like the devil has free reign to enter into them through that way. That's that's like the main reason why a lot of these bad things don't affect every single person, and that some people, they can be blasted with all these frequencies all day all night and it's like no effect on that person. It's because God is protecting them. It's because God is not allowing the devil to ha- God is not allowing the devil to mess with them using those types of technologies. Why? Because they have a relationship with God. Probably because they pray for protection. Probably because they ask God what they need to do to not have this affect them. You know, God will, a person that has a real true relationship with God and a person that is seeking God, really truly seeking Him for real, not in a fake way, but in a real way, really seeking God's will, what really seeking what God wants from them. A lot of the spiritual things, and a lot of the demonic technologies, a lot of the mind control type of technologies, it's not really going to have an effect on them. I'm not saying they're going to be 100% protected all the time because I'm not going to say anything with 100% certainty. But I am going to say that the only way a devil can attack a person, and not just attack a person one time and leave. I'm talking about continually attack a person over and over and over again the same way without leaving. That kind of attack. That person has to have an open doorway or an open invitation. That person had to have some type of invitation to invite the devil to do that. Now, when it's just one attack and then the devil goes away, that's no open invitation. That's why the devil goes away after that one attack. But when it's a continual assault on the person's mind, a continual assault on the person's body, a continual assault, supernatural evil things are continually happening in the person's home. Doors opening and closing by themselves, seeing shadows out of the corner of their eye all the time, being sleep paralyzed every single night, at nighttime seeing, evil things, at nighttime continually feeling evil presences in their room or whatever all the time, continually every night. That is because there is some type of open doorway, some type of allowance within the person's life that is allowing the devil to do that. And the only way of making that be less of a problem and making that go away more and have it stay less and be going away more is Jesus, is the one true God, God. And that's it. Because even if you decide to relocate, okay? Even if you decide to relocate, it might not get rid of the problem. It could follow you. The devils could follow you. The devils could follow you. And so that's basically that. Okay, moving on. My work at the time was involved with an AI database for paranormal references, Project Parafile. A second paper was also presented at the Omniversal Symposium, California State College at Sonoma. This was titled Embryonic Holography and was an application of the holographic concept of reality model. It dealt with biogenesis and neurological regeneration and included speculation on the origins of cancer, faith healing, psychic surgery, and more technical aspects of mind-body energetics. And so I just want to talk about the last sentence a little bit and my view on that. Now, when it comes to supernatural healing of the physical body, okay, example, cancer disappearing in an instant and not being there anymore. A person that was blind and could see, a person that was deaf and can hear, a person that had third-degree burns all over their body and then all of a sudden their skin is good again. Things like that. There are only two sources of that type of healing. Okay? The one true real source, which is Jesus and God and God's holy angels and messengers doing it for the person. And then there is the demonic source of demonic healing, where either a witch doctor, a shaman, a Santeria priest, a voodoo priest, whatever thousands of names they have for themselves. Basically, they use the power of evil and devils to do their healing. And those are the only two ways of supernatural physical healing happens. It's either God doing it or the devil doing it. If it's God doing it, there's no strings attached and it's good for the person and the person has a better life because of it. If it's the devil doing it, then there's a lot of strings attached and the ultimate goal is to kill the person. It's not to heal the person. The ultimate goal is to continually have the person sick in different ways. The ultimate goal is to have that person continually visit that witch doctor. I have to keep going back to my witch doctor. He's the only one that can help me. Let me keep going back to my witch doctor, even though it never really goes away, or it goes away for a little bit, comes back. let me just keep going to my witch doctor. And so what happens? Every single time the person keeps going to that person, that witch doctor, whatever they want to call themselves, every single time that person keeps going back to that person, they get more and more and more and more and more devils in their life, more and more and more and more and more and more and more devils in their body, more and more and more and more and more. Their life is worse off every time, without fail. And it's the same with any type of it's the same with any type of thing like that. The more you go to a palm reader, life is worse off. The more you go to a psychic, your life is worse off. The more you do it, the more the person chooses to do it, whether they're ignorant of the fact or not. The devils don't care. If the person didn't know, the devils don't care if the person doesn't know. And so, there's no the ignorance of the devil is no protection from what the devil can do to you. Ignorance from the devil results in you or your family or your children either being hurt, killed, or worse. That's all ignorance of the devil does. It just hurts you. It hurts your family, it hurts your children. And so being ignorant of the devil and what the devil can do is very, very, very dangerous, not good, and not smart. A person, if because this is a literal war. The earth is enveloped in a literal battle, a literal war where there's death going on and there's maiming and torturing and all these other bad things going on. And when you're in a war like this, when you're in a war zone, and the earth is a war zone, um, you have to a person has to at least be knowledgeable about what. First of all, the person has to know that they're in a war zone. Okay, they have to realize that they're in a war zone. Hey, you're in a war zone. But once a person realizes they're in a war zone, they have to realize how to fight it. But the person has to know. A person has to learn how to fight in it, because not all wars are the same, and not every war can be fought and won the same way. And once a person knows that you're in a war, what kind of war? A spiritual war with literal evil spirits and devils and demons and things like that, and the people that are possessed by them on the one hand, and on the other, and that's on the left hand, and then on the right hand is God, the kingdom of God, Jesus, the one true God, the one true creator, the real God that really truly created things, everything. And that's on the one hand. So those are the actors in the war. And then what? Everyone that is alive right now is on a side of the war. It's a war where it's literally impossible to be on the sideline. Um, it's just not possible to be on the sideline. You can try and make yourself be on the sideline, and you can try and make yourself and say, well, I'm not going to be involved in this. I'm not going to fight the devils. I'm not going to be on God's side. I'm not going to be on the devil's side. I'm just going to be on my own side, and I'm just going to live my life, and I'm not going to be involved in this, and I'm just going to do what I'm going to do, and that's it. And you can think that way all day long and all night long and every single day of your life. And you can think like that, and you can have that on your heart, in your heart, to believe, and you can believe that to be true. But the fact is that even though you say to yourself and you say that you're not going to be in anything like that, you're not going to be with nothing like that, you're not going to be involved in nothing, and you're just going to just live, and that's it. The thing is that the war comes to you. It's not where you can just live and then somehow by living you avoid the war. The war comes to you. The reason the war comes to you is because it's all around you. It's the whole world, the whole earth, this whole planet is enveloped in it. There's nowhere you can physically go to avoid it. because it's everywhere. It's not like where it's just localized war here and then over here is no war. It's war everywhere. That's why you can't avoid it, because wherever you are, that's where it is. Why? Because part of the war is internal self inside of you, inside of your mind, inside of your heart, inside of your soul, inside of your spirit. A struggle, an internal struggle. That's one reason where wherever you are, the war is because it's in you, and also because it's in your physical location too. It's where you are at too. It's where you live. It's where you go to work. It's where you sleep. It's where you eat. It's where everywhere, and also inside of you too. And so you can't avoid it. And so because you can't avoid it, I say, and I know what I say doesn't really mean much, but I still say this, is that because you can't avoid it, even though you try so hard to avoid it, because you can't avoid it, you might as well learn how to fight. You might as well learn how to fight at least. Fight to at least protect yourself. If you don't want to help other people, at least fight to help yourself then. At least. That's the least you can do. If you feel like you can't help others, at least try and help yourself by learning how to fight in the war. How do you learn how to fight in the war? God has to teach you. God has to show you. God has to show you how to fight in the war. Sure, he will send people your way sometimes. He will send people your way to help you with it. But it's still ultimately up to God to help you learn how to fight in the war between good and evil. And it's also up to you too to choose it. You have to choose it. Now, me personally, I don't believe in free will or free choice or anything like that. I don't believe in it. What I do believe in is that people have choices. But I don't believe that the choices are free, but I still believe that people have choices and that they have a limited number of choices. That's why I don't think it's free. If a person had infinite choices to do an infinite number of things, then that's free choice. But since a person only has limited numbers of choices, limited things that they can do, within that subset of that super limited scope, there is choices to be made. And so it's up to the person to choose to want to fight. Because it's either you're going to fight or you're going to be walked all over. You're going to be walked all over. Walked all over by who? Well, by the devils. You're going to be walked all over by them. They have no problem walking all over a person that says they don't want to be involved. They love that. Devils love those types of people. Devils love those types of people. Why? Because it makes their job really easy. It makes the devil's job really easy to go after those people because they're not doing anything. They're not doing anything to resist. And so devils love those types of people. And so I don't want to be a type of person that the devils love because that means that you're going to have a bad time. Okay, continuing on. 1 week after the delivery of that paper, 4 men came into my place of business, 2 in suits and 2 in full army dress. The 2 suits held me under close arrest while the 2 army personnel went through my files pulling anything related to embryonic holography. The paper was rewritten from old notes and memory, but it was not the same. Okay, so I just want to talk about this too. At least within the United States, you have no ownership of your physical stuff. Okay? That means that at any point, for any reason, people that get their paycheck from parts of the government can invade inside of your home and take things, and you are powerless physically to physically resist that. I mean, sure, maybe you can like have a gun, but they'll just shoot you. You know, they'll just shoot you. If they see a gun in your hand, they'll just shoot you. They'll just kill you. And so there is a, it's almost like a kind of, it's almost like a kind of mind control, um, like a literal type of like brainwash going on where people are still believing in private property or private property rights. You don't have any private property rights. You don't have any private property rights. Everyone everyone that doesn't know any better will say, "Oh yes, there's private property rights in America. You know, you can own things and that'll be your private property." No, that's not true. That's not true. I mean, you know, according to this guy has no reason to lie about this. You know, this is like documented. It's not like a lie. You don't have private property rights. You don't own. You can say that you own it. You can say that, oh yeah, I bought this, or oh yeah, someone gave me this thing, but that doesn't matter. And what's the reason why? It's because it can be taken away without your say. Real private property rights, things can't be taken away without your say. Fake mind control private property rights, things can be taken away. And so I don't believe that anyone in this country, of at least the United States, has private property rights simply because of the fact that it can be taken away from you. Even if you didn't quote unquote break the law. I'm not talking about people that break the law and their stuff is taken. I'm talking about people that didn't do anything illegal and yet their things were still taken. Their stuff was still taken. That's not private property rights. That's that's evil. So I just wanted to say that about that. Okay. What got this paper classified top secret for almost 20 years was that it was critical for the use of Alan Frey's study and its possible application to mind control. I was never I never was able to draw what was so important in the initial paper until I began researching this paper. More than 24 years later, I will discuss those aspects further into this document. Okay, so why would the demon-possessed secret government people and the demon-possessed secret government in general classify this guy's paper as top secret for 20 years? Why would the demon-possessed secret government and the demon-possessed secret government people do that? Well, because the main reason is because the devils don't want the society, the general people in the society, to know what is going on. They don't want people to know. The devils want everyone to be stupid. The devils want everyone to be dumb. The devils want everyone to not know anything about what is happening in their own society, what is happening in their own government, what is happening in their own country, what is happening in their own state, what is happening in their physical land area around them. The devils want everyone to be ignorant of that fact of what is going on. The devils want to be ignorant of the fact that there is a demon possessed government, secret government, that is hidden and separate from the government that you can see, and that they have different things to control people and to ruin people's lives and to kill people. Okay, moving on. In 1961, Alan Frey, a freelance biophysicist and engineering psychologist, so, Alan Frey went through the meat grinder in order to get all of these qualifications, right? You have to go through a lot of work and a lot of schooling to become a biophysicist and an engineering psychologist. It's not where it's just some. It's not where it's just some guy in his basement or his or some guy in the woods rambling and ranting on like the demon possessed secret government propaganda wants people to believe. But a person that is, you know, smart, at least academically smart, can research different things about the physical being, about the physical human body, has qualifications, etc., reported that humans could hear microwaves. Most United States scientists dismissed this discovery as a result of outside noise. Okay. James C. Lynn offered a more technical description of the experiment. Frey found that human subjects exposed to 1310 MHz and 2982 MHz microwaves at average power densities of zero point 0.4 to 2 milliwatts per centimeter squared perceived auditory sensations described as buzzing or knocking sounds. The sensations occurred instantaneously at average incident power densities well below that necessary for known biological damage and appeared to originate from within or near the back of the head. Okay, so let's just translate this into normal conversation. So basically, what this guy is saying is that at certain frequencies, okay, at the microwave level, if that microwave is directed towards a person, that person that is receiving those waves, those microwaves, they will hear, quote unquote, hear. It's not like real hearing per se, but let's just say hearing. They will hear a buzzing or knocking sound, ding, 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 or a buzzing, right? And so this is when I first started reading this paper, this article, I actually had this triggered something in me, and I got so angry that I just couldn't. I stopped reading it, and so I will have to put something in the description to say this might be triggering for you, so be careful. Okay, so this buzzing, I never really heard knocking sounds, but I did hear when the devils, um, came into my room and whatnot, and after they after they repeatedly did that over a period of time. A lot of the times I would hear several different noises, but the main noises I would hear most often was I would hear the buzzing. So I know what this guy is talking about. Like I've heard it myself. Okay, I've heard it myself. Okay. And not only would I hear buzzing, but also sometimes I would hear the sound of crashing water, like a huge wave, like, but very loud, like you're in a tsunami or something. I would hear either the buzzing or that sound of the big crashing wave, you know, coming to wash a person away or something like that. I would hear that noise, that sound of that water or the buzzing. And the sensation, you know, at the time, like when I really think about it, like when I use my memory and really think back to that point in time of when that was happening, um, I can remember it's like so scary. Like imagine like you're like this like little kid and like all this crazy stuff is happening. Crazy slash demonic stuff. It's like, scary and terrifying, but from the non-emotional side of it, just like the feeling, you know, I don't even know if it's like a physical feeling or like a mental feeling, but it's like your head feels like so like I don't even know, like smushed or something. I don't know. It's hard to describe. But um it's like your whole mind is like under like assault by whatever, like under siege, like your mind under siege. And it's just terrible. It's like horrible, you know. And it's just something that's really bad. It's something that I wish God wouldn't allow to happen to people. and I wish it was something that didn't exist. But it does exist, and God allows it to exist, and only God can make it stop existing. That this type of stuff. Okay, pulse microwave technology. Pulse microwave voice to skull or other sound to skull transmission was discovered during World War II by radar technicians who found they could hear the buzz of the train of pulses being transmitted by radar equipment they were working on. This phenomenon has been studied extensively by Dr. Alan Frey, whose work has been published in a number of reference books. What Dr. Frey found was that single pulses of microwave could be heard by someone as pops or clicks, while a train of uniform pulses could be heard as a buzz without benefit of any type of receiver. Dr. Frey also found that a wide range of frequencies as low as 125 megahertz, well below microwave, worked for some combination of pulse power and pulse width. Detailed unclassified studies mapped out those frequencies and pulse characteristics which are optimum for generation of microwave hearing. Very significantly, when discussing electronic mind control, which is basically mind control that uses devices or machinery, things like that, or computers or whatever, is the fact that the peak pulse power required is modest, something like 0.3 watts per square centimeter of skull surface, and that this power level is only applied or needed for a very small percentage of each pulse cycle. 0.3 watts square centimeters is about what you get under a 250 watt heat lamp at a distance of 1 meter. It is not a lot of power. When you take into account that the pulse train is off, no signal, for most of each cycle, the average power is so low as to be nearly undetectable. This is the concept of spike waves used in radar and other military forms of communication. Frequencies that act as voice-to-skull carriers are not single frequencies, as for example TV or cell phone. Each sensitive frequency is actually a range or a band of frequencies, a technology used to reduce both interference and detection is called spread spectrum. Spread spectrum signals usually have the carrier frequency hop around within a specified band. Unless a receiver knows this hop schedule in advance, like other forms of encryption, there is virtually no chance of receiving or detecting a coherent readable signal. Spectrum analyzers used for detection are receivers with a screen. A spread spectrum signal received on a spectrum analyzer appears as just more static or noise. The actual method of the first successful unclassified voice-to-skull experiment was in 1974 by Dr. Joseph C. Sharp and Mark Grove, then at the Walter Reed Army Institute of Research. Well, isn't that so lovely? A Frey-type audible pulse was transmitted every time the voice waveform passed down through the zero axis, a technique easily duplicated by ham radio operators who build their own equipment. The sensation is reported as buzzing, clicking, or hissing, which seems to originate within or just behind the head. The phenomenon occurs with carrier densities as low as microwatts per square meter with carrier frequencies of 0.33 gigahertz. By proper choice of pulse characteristics, intelligent speech may be created. Well, this this stuff has been going on since before the 70s, and you're never gonna have physical proof of it. You're never gonna have physical proof of it. But if you just use, the power of critical thinking and deduction skills, you will probably come to that conclusion as well, that this has been going on before 1974. Dr. James Lin of Wayne State University has written a book entitled Microwave Auditory Effects and Application. It explores the possible mechanisms for the phenomenon and discusses possibilities for the deaf, as persons with certain types of hearing loss can still hear pulse microwaves, as tones or clicks and buzzes, if words aren't modulated on. Lin mentions the Sharp and Grove experiments and comments the capability of communicating directly with humans by pulsed microwaves is obviously not limited to the field of therapeutic medicine. In other words, in non-doctor language and non-doctor speak, this can be used to hurt people. This can be used to ruin people's lives. This can be used for evil, to do evil things. Not just good things, but evil things too. Synthetic telepathy. In 1975, researcher A.W. Guy stated that one of the most widely observed and accepted biological effects of low average power electromagnetic energy is the auditory sensation evoked in man when exposed to pulse microwaves. He concluded that at frequencies where the auditory effect can be easily detected, microwaves penetrate deep into the tissues of the head, causing rapid thermal expansion at the microscopic level only that produces strains in the brain tissue. An acoustic stress wave is then conducted through the skull to the cochlea, and from there it proceeds in the same manner as in conventional hearing. It is obvious that receiverless radio has not been adequately publicized or explained because of national security concerns. Okay, I just want to talk about this because of national security. Just these words right there. Well, the the demon possessed secret government will continually and always use the smokescreen and the excuse of national security, protecting interests, um, making sure anti-terrorism, things like that. They will always use that in order to hide, because that's what devils do. They hide, and that's what demon possessed people do too. They hide what they're doing in order to hide the evil that you're doing. And this is another thing that I don't really ever hear preachers, preacher men, preacher women, people that call themselves whatever of God, the blah blah of Jesus, whatever they will call themselves. Replace blah blah with whatever title you want. They will never talk about um, the secrecy that is just permeates all levels of government, not just the secret, not just the demon possessed secret government, but even the government that you can see, even local, state, and municipal governments. There's just so much secrecy involved in how leadership and and state leadership, local leadership, municipal leadership, federal leadership, of how leadership is actually run and conducted is disgusting. And the reason that there's so much secrecy is because the devils are directly involved in that. If it was something that was good, and I mean truly good, what reason is there for it to be secret? Don't people love to boast about all the good things they're doing? People in general love to boast about all the good deeds they do. And so they will so you'll never hear preacher men and preacher women and the blah blah of Jesus people say stuff like this. You'll never see it on CNN, Fox, and MSNBC news. You'll never see it on those news stations. You'll never see it on your local news stations. You'll never see it on TV. The only places that you'll see it is maybe you'll see it on the History Channel, maybe you'll see it on Discovery Channel, maybe you'll see it on the Military Channel. That's it. Those three channels, maybe. but you won't. They'll never give you the detailed things about it. They'll never give you the years, the dates, the areas it was located in, the names of the doctors, the names of the researchers, what they said, what was found. They will never, even the military channel, the history channel, and Discovery channel, they won't do that. And the rest will never do it. So, but someone has to say it. Someone has to say it. Someone has to point it out. It can't just be, it's not just going to be hidden forever. It's not just going to be hidden forever and ever and ever, secret all the time, secret all the time, secret all the time. That's stupid. The whole thing is stupid. All of this, um, the whole demon possessed secret government is idiotic and stupid because they're sowing the seeds of their own destruction. The more they follow the devils, the more they do what the devils say, the more they are committing suicide on themselves. They're suiciding their own stuff. They don't even realize that the more you do that, the more you go to that side, the more you continually follow after the devil, the more you continually do what the devil is telling you to do, the more you continually give in to the devil, the more you commit suicide. And it's slow. It happens. It's a slow suicide process. It's a slow kill, they say, right? Slow kill, slow death, right? But it happens. It's following after the devil is suicide. Following after the devil is death. Being part of the demon controlled secret government, taking part in things like this, you're hurting your own self. You're committing suicide on your own self if a person does that because of national security. So garbage. Today, the ability to remotely transmit microwave voices inside a target's head is known inside the Pentagon as synthetic telepathy. According to Dr. Robert Becker, synthetic telepathy has applications in covert operations to drive a target crazy with voices or deliver undetected instructions to a programmed assassin. And so you'll never hear the preacher men talk about this stuff. You'll never hear the preacher woman talk about this stuff. You'll never hear the self-proclaimed insert title here of God, of Jesus people speak about it because they have this strange notion that that the leadership of government is ultimately good and that all we need is reform and then it will be okay. There's no reforming this. I can tell you that right now. There's no reforming this. All these people that want to reform the government, reform the government, reform the government. Really? You're going to reform somebody that's demon possessed without the help of God? How are you going to do that? All these people, because they don't realize the kind of war that they're in, they think that they can reform. That's not how you fight in the war. You don't fight it through reform. You can't reform a demon possessed secret government that is completely obsessed with controlling every little thing that you do, with controlling everything about everybody, with controlling people into killing other people and turning them into mind control killers. And then you're going to go to, a person is going to go to change.org and make a little petition on change.org. Or a person is going to go to whitehouse.gov and make a little petition to the White House and say, oh, such and such, and reform. And a person is going to get together with a whole bunch of other little people and go and make the little protest on the street and then have the little police come and hit you on the head with their little batons and throw you in the little jail cells. That's not how you fight it. You don't fight it that way. You don't fight it by protesting in the street. You don't fight it by signing a petition. You don't fight it by making an online petition and signing that. You don't fight it by
emailing your congressperson. You don't fight it by calling your congressperson. Your congressperson and your senator and your House of Representative person don't care what you have to say to them. In their language, only money talks. Only money talks. That's it. Nothing else besides that talks. Nothing else besides that has a voice. So you might be able to say things to them, but they will be deaf to you, and their ears will be closed off to you. You can't reform this. The only thing that can stop something like this is God knocking it down to the ground. That's it. Because this is completely um this is completely something that is so much stronger than you physically. You can't physically fight this. How are you going to physically fight this? How are you going to physically fight a group of demon possessed people given over to devils with supernatural powers and with very evil technologies and machinery and devices, and you're somehow going to physically resist with what? With like a gun or something? You're going to go to the woods, you're going to have your little bug out bag, and you're going to go to your little bug out location, and then you're just going to hope that no one's going to find you? Is that like your plan? No, the only way is through Jesus Christ. That's it. Because that's how the war is fought. That's how the war is fought. It's fought in your mind, in your heart, in your spirit. And if you have to defend yourself or defend your home, then you defend yourself and you defend your home. But if you think you're going to go out there and attack something physically, you're going to lose 100% of the time. This technology may have contributed to the deaths of 25 defense scientists variously employed by Marconi Underwater and Defense Systems, ESIMS, and GEC. Most of the scientists worked on highly sensitive electronic warfare programs for NATO, including the Strategic Defense Initiative. It is claimed that directed energy weapons might have been used to literally drive these men to suicide and 291 accidents. Or I would say this is this not 291 and accidents. So remove the 291 here. This is not supposed to be there. Okay. Biological amplification. Using microwave band frequencies. The next major development in ELF weaponry was the concept of a biological amplification of these signals at the cell level to perpetuate and set up resonance for more sophisticated information transfer. This was the beginning of using more than one technology in a stack to do something more. While this was implied, it was never developed in the holographic concept of reality. Electromagnetic fields or relatively weak power levels can affect intercellular communication. Bioamplification is apparently why radio signals of very low average power can produce audio effects and is difficult to detect. Imposed weak low-frequency fields and radio frequency fields that are many orders of magnitude weaker in the pericellular fluid between adjacent cells, than the membrane potential gradient voltage across the membrane, can modulate the action of hormones, antibody neurotransmitters, and cancer-promoting molecules at their cell surface receptor sites. These ELF sensitivities appear to involve non-equilibrium and highly cooperative processes that mediate a major amplification of initial weak triggers associated with the binding of these molecules, specific cell surface receptor sites. Membrane amplification is inherent in this transmembrane signaling sequence. Okay, so let's just stop it right there for a little bit. So basically, what this is saying is that, you know, when the research was still going on, before they decided to kill off the majority of the scientists that were researching this, they were only using one type of technology, or maybe like one or two, to work together. But when they added more frequencies on top, they realized that this is more than just some audio thing, that they can use this technology more for just making people hear things. They can use this technology directly to influence your body, and not just like your body as a whole, but directly influence the smallest parts of your body, your cells, the space that is in between the cells, how the cells operate, how the cells function. So, what can they use this for? Heart attack guns, cancer guns, brain aneurysm guns, things like that. They have all of this. The secret demon possessed government has that type of have these types of guns and technology or whatnot to make that to do that using these waves, these electromagnetic waves, these ELF waves, these low amperage waves. It's not like where they need this big huge equipment to generate all of this power, to generate this strong wave to give you cancer, to give you a heart attack. It's not like that. They can it doesn't need so much power. It's a portable device that is used to shoot you with it. So the only type of thing I can think of for a name of it would be a gun, but it's not really like a gun per se. It's just like a machine or like a device that they can hold in their hand, and they can use and they direct it towards you, and it could give you that, you see. But what the thing is this though, just because they have that technology to shoot you with these waves to make your body get messed up physically in your cells and whatnot, it doesn't mean that you that your body and your cells become messed up. It doesn't work. They don't have a 100% success rate with it. No matter how much they research the technology, no matter how far along they develop the technology, no matter how strong they make the technology, no matter how efficient and powerful they make the technology, it's the technology still doesn't have a 100% success rate in hurting a person. Why is this? Okay, why it is I always go back to the same thing. It's because God is there standing in the gap for that person, protecting them from the waves, protecting them from the technology. God is there standing in the gap, protecting those people that it doesn't have an effect on, and making their technology of none effect. That's why that's why they don't just that's the main reason why the devil hasn't wiped out every single man, woman, child, tree, living thing. Because that's the ultimate end goal. Let me just I'll probably start reading this. I'll start at biological amplification um in my next video, because this is going to be a multi-series video about waves and different things like that, and like the technology, weapons, and whatnot. So this is part one, but I'll just get to the nitty gritty. What is the end goal? Why 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 is the demon possessed secret government doing all of this? Well, this is why. The reason is because it's demon possession, they're not in control of themselves. They're being directly controlled by evil spirits and demons and devils and fallen angels and whatnot, whatever you want to call them. Okay? You can use the term alien if you want, but it's the same thing. And the alien demons, or whatever you want to call them, are in direct control of these people. Okay? And what is the end goal of the alien devils? The end goal of every single one of them, is to destroy all living things. If it is something that is alive, if it is something that is created by God to live in the world, the devils want to go and kill it. That is the end goal, to completely kill and destroy and wipe out every single man, woman, child, tree, grass, shrub, bush, animal, cat, dog, fish, whales, elk, birds, beast of the field, fish of the sea, dolphin. If it is alive, the devils want to completely destroy it and wipe it away from the world. And the devils want to have the world be completely barren of all life, completely barren wasteland. The devils want to turn the entire world into a wasteland. That's what they want to do. That's the that's the that's the that's the ultimate goal. And you know, a lot of Satanists and whatnot, they spend a lot of years, learning their satanic art to learn what is the highest level of knowledge in the satanic realm, and they really want to know what the highest level of knowledge is. This hidden secret knowledge that only the devil knows. Well, that's what it is. You don't need to be a Satanist for you don't need to be a 50-year-old Satanist or a 60-year-old Satanist or a 70-year-old Satanist. You don't need to study. You don't need to you don't need to become in fellowship with the devil for 50, 60, 70 years of your life and live a life dedicated to Satan to find out what the ultimate knowledge of the devil is. That's what it is. Right there. You don't need the devil's help to figure it out. You don't need see that's the thing. The Satanists think they need the devils. Oh, I need the devils. I need the devils, they will say. And you don't need the devils. The devils need you. You don't need them. You don't need them. The devils need you. The devils need your soul. The devils need your spirit. The devils need your body. The devils need your energy. The devils need your mind. The devils need you to be in agreement with them. The devils need you for a power source. It's not where, oh, the devils are giving me power, let me worship the devils. No, it's you're given the devil's power. You're given the devil's power by making yourself a willing vessel and a willing participant in their plans that they have. There's only one way that following after evil ends, and that is bad. And that is 100% fact, certainty. And I can say that with 100% certainty as a fact, and I will always say this, and this is something that will always be true forever, is that the only thing that following after evil spirits and fallen angels and devils will lead you to is bad things. Bad things. It's not going to be good. It's not going to be good. It's going to be bad. And it's not just going to be bad for you personally. It's going to be bad for you, and it's also going to be bad for the people that you want in your life. If you're following after the devil and you have people in your life that you care about, the devils are going to make bad things happen to those people just by association, just by having them be close to you. If you are following after the devil and you have people in your life that are very close to you, bad things are going to happen to those people. bad things are going to happen to you. Bad things are going to happen to those people. If you are following after the devil and you have children, bad things are going to happen to your children. Your children will get hurt. Your children will get hurt, and you will see it. It's not like where it's going to be like some kind of secret hurt that your children is going to happen to. It's going to be evident to you. And when you're wondering why your children are getting hurt, you just have to, it's because you're following after the devil. So when you are wondering when all of these bad things start happening to you, and you're wondering why, and you're wondering why, and you're wondering why, and you can't figure it out, it's because you're following after the devil. And so I can understand if it's like I can understand if you are like a multiple type of personality thing going on where you don't realize that you're following after the devil, and then nighttime happens, and then all of a sudden, you don't remember a lot of things, and then you're back in your home, and then it was like you were missing, but like you don't know what was going on. That is like a very severe multiple personality, split personality, in which a part of your mind is possessed or controlled by something very wicked and evil, and a part of you isn't. And so the part of you that isn't has to fight for the part of you that is, and God will help you. You have to call out to the Lord. You have to call out to Jesus, because only Jesus can help with something like that. If you find yourself missing time, and and you're in your house, and then all of a sudden it's like you're in your house again, but it's nighttime, and it's like a whole bunch of hours have passed, and you don't know what the heck is going on, you need to call out to the Lord right now. You need to call out to Jesus right now. That is like, you need to do that, because this missing time is demonic. This missing time is mind control, because this missing time means that you are being controlled. This missing time means that something that isn't you, or someone that is demon possessed, someone or something that isn't you, either a devil is directly controlling you, or a demon possessed person is directly controlling you. But someone or something that isn't you is in control of you during that period of time that you don't remember anything that's going on. And in order to break free of that, you need to call out to the Lord right now. Like right now, this second. You need to call out to Jesus right now, this second. Because that's very dangerous, and that's very bad, and that's very dangerous. And most likely there are strongholds in your life, and there are demonic things going on in your life that is allowing that to be either generational, or something in your family, or something that somebody else did to you, or something. But the main thing is besides all of that, the main thing is you need to call out to the Lord. Like, you need to do that. You need to do that. Missing time is not fun. Missing time is not good. Missing time is dangerous. Missing time is very scary. Missing time is terrifying. You don't know anything that is going on around you, or what you're doing, or what you're saying, or what's happening, or where you are during that period of time that you can't remember. And and the two main reasons I found for missing time are, well, the one main reason is obviously the devils. That's the one main reason. But in the subset of underneath that, the subset is either because you are involved in a satanic ritual torture situation, a satanic ritual abuse situation. That's one thing. Um, that's one reason. The other reason is because you are involved in a demonic possessed secret government situation, demonic possessed secret government military situation, something like that, where it's the demonic possessed secret government or something, and you are involved in some sort of program or some sort of squad or some sort of team or some sort of whatever, where you have these secret government demonic possessed handlers or whatever doing things with you. And that's the other side of it. So that's basically the two that's basically the two things. And a lot of the times they're intertwined with each other. A lot of the times they're linked with each other. So it's not really even separate, but in order to separate it, it's either you're involved with a satanic ritual abuse, satanic ritual torture situation, or some type of demonic possessed secret government situation. But regardless of which side it is, whether it's the demonic possessed secret government involved or some type of satanic group involved, the point is that you don't want to be involved with that. You don't want to be involved with that. Okay? You don't want to be involved with things that are going against your will. You don't want to be involved with evil people doing evil things to you or you being mind controlled into doing evil to other people. You don't want to be involved with that. And in order to not be involved with that and to have it be not happen anymore, you need the Lord for real. You need the Lord for real. And the Lord might have you leave your present area that you are. The Lord could have you do a lot of different things. He might say to you that you have to leave where you are. He might say you can't stay where you're living anymore, or he might stay, or the Lord might say to stay where you are. Each person's situation when it comes to missing time and things like that is unique, and each type of physical thing that you need to do to help yourself get out of it is also going to be unique too. But the starting off point and the end point is always going to be the same, and that is the Lord Jesus Christ. And so I hope that if you are experiencing missing time, realize it for what it is: a demonic attack upon your life to destroy you. That's what it is. And there are very specific tools that are completely available to you to defeat this attack and to get your life back. And only you can choose it for yourself, and no one can force you to choose it. You have to choose to fight for yourself to break free of this stuff for yourself. And no one's going to say that it's going to be easy, and I'm never going to say that it's going to be easy. I'm going to say that it's going to be very difficult, and I'm going to say that it's going to be very hard, and I'm also going to say that it's going to be very painful. And I'm going to also say that if you do make the choice to break free of it, that God is going to have you learn things about your life that is going to be very shocking, to say the least. But He will help you. He will help you. And I don't understand or know why God would allow it to happen to you in the first place like that. I'm still trying to figure that one out. And the answers that I have received regarding that question are not good enough for me. And so I continue seeking out an answer, and I continue searching out an answer. And so this is part one of this new series. very I would say it's not for the faint of heart.